The books you won't put down. Grab the House of Lazenberry series by author Daniel Webb. Since his controversial interview at the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast, the books can't stay on the shelf. Grab the series, The House of Lazenberry, The House of Lazenberry 1970H, and The House of Lazenberry, A Time to Heal. Link in the description box.
It's Mike Ross, also known as Mike on the Mic. He's getting ready for his upcoming 2022 comedy run. He'll be kicking it off at Bitty Brand's Stress Factory Comedy Club. Caroline's on Broadway, Punchline Philly. You don't want to miss him take the stage at the DC Improv. Then he'll be coming to the Atlanta Improv and at Chocolate Sundays Comedy Show in Los Angeles, California.
Jay-Z last week, he is opening up a Bitcoin Academy in his home of Marcy Projects in Brooklyn, and it's not getting very good reviews. People are very critical of the situation. But what do you think about? Have you heard about the Bitcoin Academy? I got the article up here. If you haven't, I can give you some backstory on it. But if you have, talk about the Bitcoin Academy and if it will be beneficial for the residents in Marcy.
I'm actually Googling it right now because I didn't hear anything about it. Maybe if you could fill me in a little bit.
Absolutely.
It looks like he's partnered with Jack Dorsey on this. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yep. It says the program will target residents of the Marcy House public housing projects in Brooklyn, where Jay-Z grew up, offering free classes to resident devices and data plans. Children aged 5 to 17 will also be eligible enrollment in the quote Crypto Kids Camp featuring classes on crypto. It says the vision for Bitcoin is that it doesn't have barriers, but lack of access to financial education is a barrier. It's still hard to use for everybody's necessities, plus people need devices and data plans. The program's mission statement reads, the program aims to provide education, empower the community with knowledge, and get rid of some of the barriers so that residents can learn more about Bitcoin specifically and finance in general.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that there are more constructive contributions that a Jay-Z could make to Marcy Projects. I think that with Jay-Z, the challenge you have is you can't say he's a bad guy. You can't say he hasn't made any contribution to anybody, but you can't say that some things are lacking in terms of the potential of what he actually could pull off if he were around people that had the right mindset. And so I think that a Bitcoin Academy is fine. I think that learning about crypto is fine, especially if it leads into kids learning about STEM and technology and financial literacy. All that's wonderful. But then I would also end up asking, and maybe he has an answer to this question, but I would be curious about where the actual capital investment is in the Marcy Projects. Is somebody putting up $1 billion, $500 million to fund the young geniuses that come out of this space that have some of the best ideas in the world? Because ideas can't go very far if they don't get financing. Mm-hmm. And so with Jay-Z having these billionaire white friends out in Silicon Valley and Hollywood and everywhere else, I would challenge them to understand that you can't really do a whole lot in America without access to capital. So if you told me that this was the $500 million Bitcoin Academy, then that would be cool. That would make me say, okay, you're going to train them, and then you're going to finance them and get them in a position where they can be successful. But if you say I'm just going to open up a Bitcoin Academy, I don't hear enough there to tell me that it's really going to be transformative for the Marcy Projects. Because here's the other thing about a Jay-Z is, we look up to our hip hop billionaires, and they are seen as sort of beacons of hope and light for the community, and as some of them should be. I don't know, but I remember when I sat and talked to Kanye West for a few minutes. And he told me how much he was worth. He's worth about he said he was worth $4 billion. I didn't have a reason not to believe him, but I wasn't impressed by any of that because I don't really care how much you're worth. I don't really care how great you are. I want to know how great other people are because they've engaged with you. So let me give it a point of comparison. Elon Musk has created probably 200,000 or 300,000 jobs for various white people and people just around the world. Yeah. SpaceX, Tesla. He's an industrialist. There's an entire system behind him that is developing manufacturing systems that are going to impact hundreds of thousands of families. Rappers just rap and brag about how much money they have, and there's not much else that kind of follows through from that other than maybe a little bit of charity, right? So my thought is, my challenge with a Jay-Z would be to say, can I go to the Marcy Projects and find 20,000 people whose economic lives are markedly better because of something that you created in that space? Are there major corporations? Is there some sort of manufacturing plant there? Is there some sort of major project there that's hiring hundreds, if not thousands of people to create opportunities for those people? And I'm not necessarily putting that on him or saying that he's a bad guy, that he's come up short, but I'm saying that that we have to ask for more for some of these artists. You know, when I heard Kanye West on Drink Champs say, when I become a trillionaire, I'm going to give every black person $100,000. That was some bullshit. That was stupid. You mean we got to fucking wait till you are worth $1 trillion before the black community can benefit? And I love Kanye, but I don't really necessarily need to hear you spend more time telling me how great you are. I want to hear how great we can all be if we work together and take that leadership role. So sit down, you know, chill out for a minute, sit down at a round table full of experts who can think on a broad systematic level. Go out here, go get these banks, go get these billionaires, go get these Silicon Valley white boys and say, I need y'all to put up $1 billion because we're going to develop some kind of infrastructure. We're going to do something that's going to create thousands of jobs for our people, and we're going to build an entire school system for our people all across the country. Sit down with a Dr. Claude Anderson and make that plan come to fruition. And then brag about that. Go rap about that. You know, and so I think that we have to really sort of look at the culture and say, okay, this is what the culture gives us, but this is what is kind of lacking. So a Bitcoin Academy, honestly, comes off as a vanity project to me. It doesn't really, based on what I've read, it doesn't look like, oh yeah, this is going to be the thing. This is really what's going to transform the Marcy Project. No, again, flip over and look at those white billionaires. Elon Musk is changing the fucking world. Jeff Bezos has created probably 400,000 jobs. Yeah. You know, do something like that, and don't these little pet projects and charity events. That's not going to do anything transformative for the black community at all.
Why is it that you think that these rappers don't do more like that? Do you think, in your opinion, that they're scared that they maybe one day, if they try to go the route to do something like that, positive for the black community, that they might be destroyed and attacked for doing that? Or do you think they just don't care?
I think that sometimes they just don't know how to do more, or don't care to learn how to do more. Gotcha. And the community does not demand more. I think that's what I don't think. I mean, this whole idea that the white boogeyman's gonna come get you because you want to hook up some black folks. I don't think that day is still here anymore. Maybe 30 years ago it might have been true. Now they're not gonna get mad at you because you want to go create jobs for your people and hook your people up. They don't really care. You know, so, you know, if you're Drake or whoever, in fact, I remember Drake bought that private jet and he was talking about how important it is to buy Canadian, right? Because he's Canadian. You know, I mean, nobody punished him for saying that, right? So if Jay-Z or whomever is making these major multi-million-dollar deals and they say, I want to buy black, I want to invest black, I don't think anybody's going to come and spank them. You know, and again, these are not children. These guys are 45, 50 years old. So I'm assuming that they're past the point where they're afraid. Kanye loves to talk about how he's not scared of nobody. He's not controlled by anybody. So I don't think that's what it is. I think also, unfortunately, there is an element of immaturity in the space where, you know, nobody really looks to you to do anything that is really reflective of king level transformative behavior in your community, where you're literally developing the kinds of systems and infrastructure that your community needs. Black people need institutions. That's why we struggle. We don't have institutions. Starting with the family. They killed our families. The schools suck. We don't have the businesses anymore. So the lack of institution is what is causing us to constantly feel like we're just skating on thin ice all the time. So I think maybe being educated on it, I don't think there's any reason to be afraid. I just think that unfortunately nobody really pushes them on this. And then when I push them, you know, of course, there's going to be a bunch of people who just call me a hater and that's it. Right. But I think that we should expect more.